Hello and welcome along to episode 25 of A View from Section C. Senior, how are you feeling after COVID last week?
I'm getting there, Junior. I'm getting there.
Good. I hear the voice is back a bit.
It's back a bit, yeah, a bit nasally, as they say. But yeah, absolutely gutted that I get through the pandemic and then catch COVID the night before we're meant to be going to the Open. So
2 whole
absolutely
years.
devastated.
2 whole years,
Absolutely.
never caught it, and then
No.
bang, you're floored.
I know, followed the guidelines all the way through. Never sort of went away from the guidelines, stuck with it the whole way through. And I still didn't even know where I caught it. I think it might have been the work. Because seemingly it's going through. I've been working for him now, so I'm back on site on Monday, but I believe it's going right through the work again. So
it 100% is going right through your work.
Yeah, the chances are that's where I've probably caught it. So
yeah,
but feeling better. Certainly feeling better today than what I was 7 days ago. Put it that way.
Good, because I was worried when I dropped stuff off at the house the other day. I was worried that you weren't going to be able to speak on this podcast episode, and it's one that we've both been really looking forward to doing.
Yeah. Because what number is it? What episode?
Well, it's episode 25.
25.
Yeah,
ironic.
And it's very ironic that it is episode 25, because we do have the sheriff in town. It is Mr. Kyle Haas. And
hey, Kyle, how you doing, buddy?
He is eating breakfast. So
I'm gonna say one thing before we start. It's a little bit fitting. You guys represent the Dundee Stars fan podcast, and I'm the only one wearing Dundee Stars gitch. Unbelievable, guys.
Yeah.
Kyle, we don't get freebies like that.
I had to make trades for this shirt.
Yeah, you know what? I should really start wearing some tops on this, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
You know, I've got. The thing is, I
love this shirt, the cross-check clothing one.
Yeah,
we could have done another deal or something with those guys because I like their stuff that they produce. So
yeah. Well, we've now got to deal with Warriors, so hopefully some other big things coming out now with that. That's a massive sponsor for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to have you, Kyle. Welcome back to a Stars-based thing. You know, how's your summer going?
Good. It's I just moved to Edmonton just over a month ago from the East Coast there. So I'm living here with my my girlfriend Rena and my dog Jax. Started a job about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and it's funny because I've told a couple of people this, but Justin Farina actually helped me get the job, and I'm working pretty closely with him now. So Sandale's the company I'm working at, and that's actually where he started his post-career. And now he's working for the manufacturer that supplies us with a lot of products. So it's good because I'm learning a lot from the guys that showed him the ropes, and now I'm learning a lot from Justin. So it's been nice.
Good to hear. Yeah, Justin, it's one guy we're going to have to get on the podcast as well. I think we're going to get him on the fall. What a Stars legend he is.
He's great. Yeah.
But yeah, no, good to have you. As I said, we'll discuss kind of about your career, about the Stars and that, and potentially what the future holds for yourself. But going right back to the start, obviously just before you came to Dundee, you were at the U Sports and you were assistant and then captain. Eventually, before finishing off, and then going to ECHL with Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
How is that experience? We spoke with Charlie about that kind of stepping up from the college and ECHL. What's it like stepping up from U Sports and ECHL and then into the league?
Well, when I was in my last year junior, I decided to go from Moncton Wildcats to a junior A league, and the junior team was really close to where I was spending my summers and where my parents are now. And the coach there, he spent a lot of time in the American League in the East Coast, named Justin Bowers, and he was telling me, because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to jump to pro right away after junior or to go college. And he was telling me, from the hockey standpoint, he said the best stepping stone league from junior to pro is the U Sports League. And I couldn't agree any more than that, right? But obviously the I didn't do a lot of fighting coming from junior to youth sport, but it gave me a chance to work on my game, and I was able to improve a lot. And I wasn't playing a lot my first year, but my coach Kevin Hanlon gave me a chance. He really improved my game, or helped me improve my game, and my ice time significantly increased over my 4 years, and I felt like it was the best choice on my end to go youth sports and then make the jump to the East Coast Hockey League after that.
Yeah. And obviously coming from ECHL, you'd said when you first signed, you spoke to Eric Nielsen.
Oh yes, yeah.
And Eric's a friend of the Stars, and he doesn't actually know he's a friend of the Stars because he did punch a Fifer in the face, a Fife fan in the face during a game. So he will forever be a Stars friend.
What happened? I've never heard of that story.
So you know when you're playing in Fife, Kyle, right? Yeah. You sit in front of the fans.
Yeah.
So previously, when the away team and where they sit now, the away fans used to be able to sit right behind the team. So if you were playing for the Stars, it would always be Stars fans that were right behind you.
Mm-hmm.
But Fife decided to change that. And what they done was they put the away fans behind the goal and they allowed their own fans to go there. So what then happens is you start getting verbals, as you do. One thing leads to another. Eric scoots water up, I think it happens. Somebody throws beer down, and Eric just decides, nah, I've had enough of this.
Wow.
And you see him on the bench actually trying throwing punches at the Fife fans.
And
absolute legend.
Did anything happen?
Legend.
Because I know Nickerson, he did that in Belfast, and he got kicked out of the league, didn't he?
Yeah, Nickerson
I think Eric got a ban. I think he got suspended.
He got a big ban for it.
But Nickerson got massive. I don't think that was the first time Matt's done it. I think Matt done it in, it might have been Guildford or Hull. He grabbed the fan as he was going off the ice as well.
Yeah.
But
I would love to do that to a Steeler fan. Or
well, I think we can easily say that Kyle Haas will never sign for Sheffield.
And then there's one guy in Coventry that he really got under my skin. So maybe he'll watch this and he'll be like, I did my job, but man, he really pissed me off. Yeah.
You had a good friend from Belfast. Was it a guy called Colin as well?
Yeah. But that was kind of my first experience of going at it with a fan on Twitter, but no, he was good after that. Like, he sent me messages and stuff after that saying he was a fan of me and stuff. Like, he was obviously a fan of Belfast. He wanted Belfast to kick our ass every time. But he always showed his respect to me, so I don't mind the guy at all.
Yeah,
it was awful.
Eric Nielsen, an indirect Stars legend for hitting a Fife fan. We absolutely loved it. But what did Eric actually? What was the discussions you had with him about the league in Dundee? Because obviously he said he had nothing but good things to say. But what was it that kind of pushed you into the elite league?
Yeah, well, it was actually it was both Eric and Justin actually, because I had a long conversation with Justin right before I came, or right before I signed, and he was just talking up the Masters program and some of the pros with Dundee and some of the cons. But the cons that he all mentioned, I think they've all improved the negative stuff of going to Dundee. I won't mention them, but they've done a lot of improvements. And Omar Patra was, I think he was a huge contributing factor to that. But Eric Nielsen, he was telling me, because we do play a similar style, and he told me, like, if he could have came to the UK 5 years earlier in his career, he said he would have done it. And Eric's one of those guys, like, he's been kind of mentoring me ever since when I was playing in the Quebec League back when I was 18, 19 years old. And so I've always listened to him and always kind of followed in his footsteps. So when he told me that, then I was like, okay, I got to get over there and see what it's all about. So I definitely didn't regret that decision. So.
Yeah, no, he was a massive character in the league.
Like like off the ice, like that's where he really, really shows his worth. He's I think he's won AHL Man of the Year just for his community work, all his off ice work with the kids and the fan bases. Like, he won Man of the Year in that league, like I think 5 or 6 times. Like, it just shows you like what kind of person he is, and he's really an unbelievable guy. So
But Kyle, do you not think that tends to happen though? Because I would say you were exactly the same. When you're off the ice, you're a totally different guy from what you are on the ice. Eric was the same. Justin was probably the same. Matt Nickerson was the same. We met Matt Nickerson at one of the playoff weekends, and you couldn't speak to a nicer, quieter guy.
Yeah.
But when you hit the ice, totally different. Totally different.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I think it has to do with those guys are. Well, I can say us as a group. We're putting our faces and our bodies on the line for our teammates, right? It's not like we're going out there and we have this urge to want to kill everyone on the opposing team. It's not really it doesn't really have to do with that. It's just more trying to help and do whatever we can do to help the guys win. And if we have to put our faces and our bodies on the line to help win, then that's what we have to do. So we love the guys more than anything. We love the team, and we want to win more than anything. So.
Yeah, and that was one thing that Charlie said when Charlie was on the other week. He said he would not have got through this season if it wasn't for you. He said because of you, he was able to go and play his game and do what he wanted to do because of you. And you
know how much I love Charlie. So it makes my almost brings a tear to my eye when I hear guys like Charlie was our best player. Or if not, he was one of the best players, if not the best player on our team. And whenever I got into a fight, you can see it on the videos. He's the first guy over there saying "fucking right, Ozzy." Like, he loved it. So that keeps me going, and it almost brings a tear to my eye hearing that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So how did you settle into Dundee at first? Was it a difficult transition coming into Europe and okay, you speak English, but
it's my environment. So no, I loved it. The Scots were unbelievable. I remember the first time we were out with Ingy and Morsey. I was sitting right beside those guys, and they got me to try haggis right away, and we got pretty banged up at at Braze. And I was hearing all the Scottish jokes and stuff. I was like, okay, I made the right decision here. So.
Yeah,
and it's the Scots on our team were great. So
yeah, and it's not just the Scots, obviously the Italians as well. Don Michel, you were in Don Michel a lot. Paddy looked after you very well.
Yeah, they treated me very well there. I spent a lot of time there and made pretty good buddies with the bartender Antonio there. He was a pretty good buddy of mine, and obviously Paddy. Paddy, the guy that owns the Don Michel, he used to play for the Stars. I'm sure you guys
absolute legend.
And he was a legend there in himself. So I spent a lot of time there doing my schoolwork there, and loved the food and the wine. So it was good.
Yeah, definitely. We're actually booked into Don Michel's next week with my in-laws. So.
Yeah, make sure you take a picture. Say hi to Antonio and Paddy for me, and get a picture of them and send it off to me.
Yeah, you could see Senior's face was a little bit disappointed there that you never got an invite. You saw the face drop of you're going to Paddy's next week.
Put this stuff on social media for them. You could have dropped in any time. You probably would have ran into me. I ran into a lot of fans there. So.
Yeah. There was a few Dundee fans have went there over the years now, and it's just because it's Paddy. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, and then I have my own signature drink there.
Yes,
I'm sure you guys saw that at the Haas.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah,
you guys order one of those, or 2 or 3, whatever you guys feeling.
Yeah, I'll get Shannon to order a couple on Thursday. But as you say, coming to the league, you settled in really quickly. Your style of game is something that I think every fan loves in their team. Dundee, we've never really had that for a while. And Larzo, you said it to Charlie. It was actually the first time the Stars fans were able to say we had the toughest guy in the league in our team. you know, the physical aspect of it, we're going to have to touch on it. The hit coming out of the penalty box.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind at that time?
Knock his block off. Kill him.
I just saw red. As soon as I got off the box, like Boucher, he put himself in that position coming across the blue line. I'm like, you're coming across the railroad tracks. He doesn't see me coming out of the box. I'm going to put my shoulder into him. But honestly, looking back at that hit, watching the slow motion, if I would have dropped my shoulder, it could have been a lot worse, I think.
Yeah.
That's just
me.
I thought it was clean personally, but obviously.
So we've had numerous arguments. You know, Belfast have got their own podcast. And I listened to it.
I watched it. Yeah. I really wanted to call in there and
yeah, so I sat and made notes. I had a notebook out and I was sitting writing notes because we were recording the next night. And we had a full-on discussion about it, and we had fans kind of tweeting us about it and stuff. And the majority of us, and a lot of people say it's blinkers because we're Stars fans and we're all Kyle Haas fans. But at the time, and even still to now, I still think it was a clean hit. It was just a hard hit. Yeah. But I don't think the 20-odd strides before it helped your favour.
I think that's what made the call. For me, that's what made the call. If it maybe been, say, maybe 5-10 steps max, nothing's getting called. Absolutely nothing. I think it was the distance and then the speed that you've got there. And
I might have not hit. If I didn't take all those strides, I wouldn't have been able to hit him like that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But it was the whole point of, you know, he went down and he was pretending he was injured because he did pretend, and he got back up and he's pissing himself laughing as he skates to the bench. And I think that's what riles us up more than anything. It was just, you know, you're totally playing the game here, and when you've got guys like Pavel reffing, they will kind of go to that. But you didn't have a great relationship with the officials, did you?
Well, it was weird. You know what? Like during the game, I'd be screaming at them, they'd be yelling at me, and then before a game or after, they'd act like I was their best friend. And like I didn't mind it. They were good guys off the ice, but on the ice, like I don't know what changed. They couldn't stand me. So I don't know. I'm playing the game hard. I thought they'd be able to respect that, but obviously sometimes I like to cross the line, and they penalize me for it. So, but that comes with the territory. I told Omar Pacha that right before I signed, I said, Patch, like, you know what kind of guy you're signing here. So there might be a couple instances this year where I might cross the line, but that comes with
just a couple.
You're gonna have to let me off the reins a bit at the beginning of the year just to gain a reputation, or let me gain a reputation for myself, and then you can rein me back in. So I think after that game against Belfast, he called me and he's like, "Haas, you motherfucker, I can't let you be suspended anymore. Like I'm gonna have to rein you back in and just keep your cool for now." So that was the last, and
it worked. It absolutely worked because at the beginning you got the reputation. We've seen the videos, we've seen the boxing videos and training. You came in, you've got this reputation coming in anyway.
Yeah.
But then you actually played the game.
Yeah.
You actually played the game. You were not this goon that everybody thought you were coming in to be. You actually played the game. You played it hard. You played it physical. And if you had to do the business, Cal, you done the business. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But for me, I love the way you play. I love the way you play. I love the way Nielsen played, even Nickerson the way he played. I love the way Justin played. I like guys who are hard. If they've got to drop the gloves, they drop the gloves. But you could also play.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between somebody who just comes in, fights everybody, and does absolutely nothing else.
Yeah. Well, that's today's game, though. Like you have to evolve. Like my type of players, the game's evolving so fast into more of a skilled game than it was back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, where there was those one-dimensional players.
Yeah.
But now you have to be able to play. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but in my eyes, one of the most valuable players in the NHL in the 80s and 90s was Bob Probert. He was one of those guys that was the toughest guy on the ice, and he could score 30 goals.
Yeah.
And then in today's game, Tom Wilson's another guy. He gets a lot of hate, but who wouldn't want to have that guy on their team? He can score goals. He can play with the best of the best.
Definitely.
And he can fight, and he can hit. He can do everything. Why wouldn't a GM want that guy on his team, right? So,
definitely.
Yeah. So, like, you can't just fight in today's game. You have to be able to provide and do other stuff. So, I have the U Sports to help me with that stuff, or that side of my game, developing my skills and developing the non-fighting aspects of the game. So that's something I can.
But it's, as you say, you were reined in by Omar kind of midway at the midpoint, but league season finished overall with 208 penalty minutes in 48 games. I think it is the highest for an elite league season.
Yeah.
But I would be interested.
You can add the 30 penalty minutes I think I got in the Challenge Cup there too.
But I'd be interested to see. Yeah, I'd be interested to see how many of them were the game misconducts that came with some of the penalties. Some of the, I think I went bananas in one of the podcasts from the game in Guildford early on when you got kicked out.
Is that the one at the beginning of the year with
with
Jamal Watson? With Jamal Watson.
Yeah.
My good friend Pussy.
Yeah. You guys love to go at him.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Hockey player though. I grew up with him. I wasn't the closest of friends with him, but I definitely knew of him. He only lived about 10 or 15 minutes away from me, but we grew up with the same group of friends and stuff. So he was wondering what the hell I was doing when I did that. Hey, it is what it is, man.
That's exactly.
Dropped. I'll speak to you off it. I'll speak to you after it. But puck's dropped now, so you're not my friend. But it'd be interesting to see how many game misconducts went with it, and the automatic 20 minutes goes on top of those penalty minutes. But as say, there was times when there's some bullshit calls, and then obviously the more penalty minutes. But you say you could play as well. And one of the games that kind of stands out for me where you were the absolute kind of perfect game was the game where Glasgow had their meltdown. The absolute meltdown. You played that perfect role of antagonizing them, and the guys were getting penalties called against them, and then obviously you pop up with a goal towards the end of the game, and it just capped off the performance, and it was like, this is what we can do. And I think it was at that point as well, we thought, we are making playoffs after COVID. Our two breaks that we ended up having. How was that for you, having to spend your COVID isolation? I think you were down in Belfast. You had to isolate in Belfast,
Cardiff,
didn't you?
Cardiff.
Cardiff, yeah. How was that?
Oh, it was definitely a time. It was definitely better than spending my time in the apartment in Dundee, because I was with Gareth, a huge sponsor with JBC, and I've actually been I've made pretty close friends with him. Actually, he's a really good friend of mine now, and we're in regular contact. And he treated me like a king down there. We were having tomahawk steaks and the whole shebang every night. So it was definitely a good time. We were in the hot tub too, so he was great.
Exactly what you needed during an isolation period.
Yeah, exactly. And I was only sick. Like, I only showed symptoms for about 2 or 3 days, and then the rest of the time I was there for about 10 or 12 days. So most of the time I was feeling fine, and he didn't even end up getting COVID. So weird. We won't get political though, but
it must be something else. But that kind of COVID break, we spoke about with Charlie, it completely killed our momentum. We had such a good run before it.
Yeah, but we had a chance when we came back. We definitely realized it definitely threw a wrench into our momentum that we built up for so long. It felt like it took forever to build that momentum, but after the break, we were off to kind of a slow start, but we were able to build that momentum. And I feel like we hit our peak like right before playoffs. And I think that Glasgow game, the one you guys mentioned, and then I thought the Glasgow game after that was even better, to be honest with you. But yeah, it was we hit our peak, and then we were up against Sheffield in playoffs, and I think that was our best performance out of the whole year. So
yeah. Hey, say that playoff 2 legs, and how do you feel about that as a hockey player as well, having the aggregate score?
It's different. I don't mind it though. Like, it's not a big deal for me, but you just have to treat it as one full game, and yeah, I didn't really think much about it, but
yeah. But what was, obviously we're 3-0 down, and then we bring it back to 3-1 just before the end of the second period. What's said in the changing room? Who was the one that kind of stood up? Was it Omar, or was were there guys that stood up and said,
there wasn't one guy in particular from what I recall. I think we were pretty quiet, and we knew what had to be done, and we did it as a group. Everyone played their roles. Everyone did what they had to do, and I think it was just a great all-around performance by the team, and we did it together, and that's why we were so happy as a group after that game. After we won the series against Sheffield, like, we treated it like we won the championship, because we were all so happy and proud of ourselves, and I'm proud we could have done it at home in front of you guys. So and obviously Pacha was a huge part of that. Like, when that video, I remember I tweeted, there was someone that edited that video and put the Titanic song in.
That's right.
I actually started tearing up when I saw that. I was like, are you kidding me?
It was
perfect. You see everyone, how happy everyone is. You see Patrick jumping on everyone. Oh yeah, it still brings it to my eyes.
It's been a long time since Dundee had a night like that. We said it to Charlie.
It was great. That was definitely the peak of my time spent in Dundee. That was probably the greatest moment of the year, for sure.
Yeah.
For me personally, and I'm sure a lot of other guys would say the same thing, but that was definitely peak.
Yeah, I would think so. I think that for us, that was the peak of the season, and as you say, it felt like we'd won the championship, and and you know what, it was that was our championship. We got drawn against Sheffield. We were written off straight away. We're away from home first, and we've spoke about this before. Normally, Sheffield would take the away game first. They've done that to us before, and they've come up. They've kept it tight, or they've actually beaten us in Dundee, and then we've went back to Sheffield, and they've just annihilated us in the second game. So we were surprised when they took the home game first, because I think they thought, we take the home game, we'll blow these guys out of the water, and it'll be a formality when we go back up to Dundee. They lose 1-0, we win 1-0, obviously, and spanner in the works. And then before you know it, in the second game, we're 3-0 down, and everybody's thinking, we blew it. So, but to come back, to me, best game of the season, best game I've seen in Dundee for a long, long time. And I was glad you guys treated it like a championship, because it was like a championship. And then you go to the Final Four, and you get what you get. It's a 50-50 call when you go to that game. We get Belfast.
Belfast had a hell of a team. Like, you can't just
not at all.
They were a great team. So, and they gave it, like, I was surprised that they lost to Cardiff, to be honest with you. I thought Belfast would take that game, but I think if you look at the buildup of both teams, I think Cardiff has the playoff team. They have grit, they have toughness, they have physicality, they can score, they can almost do everything, right? Belfast is missing a few of those factors. So, I think Cardiff has the playoff team, and it looks like they're building a pretty good team for this upcoming season as well. So,
a couple of guys coming back, and Joey Martin, the Cardiff golden child, effectively. He's one hell of a player.
It's also interesting to see what Omar's doing at Nottingham. They're signing a few big guys like
So we'll come to that. I was going to have a couple other points about the playoffs, but you know what? We'll look forward and we'll speak about that. So Gags, obviously signing for Nottingham. Kyle having some beef with Sheffield fans on Twitter.
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
I don't want to give it to them, but they were pissing me off a lot. And
They're a special bunch.
I don't know what kid it was. I forget what the username was, but I told him, okay, I wish I could look up your achievements and then we can compare or whatever. Because he posted by top penalty minutes for both leagues or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he posted an achievement of him scoring a game-winning goal or something for, I don't know if he's playing like high school hockey or beer league or something. I'm like, okay, I'm not wasting my time anymore. But no, there was one. Is it Sims, the big?
He's a
big guy on Twitter. Yeah, he was mentioning, the other teams should be celebrating this, and I'm like, you fucking idiot, you donkey! How could you say that after you guys got bullied in the first round against us, and now you're celebrating another tough guy? That Gags is. I fought him in junior, and he's one of the toughest guys I've ever fought. That's one guy you should not be celebrating for a rival team winning. So I just want to kind of put that into perspective. Mm-hmm. And especially with Sheffield, I don't think they've signed anyone really that plays that physical type of style.
No.
I'll stand up to him. But I'm telling you guys, like, hockey's still a game of intimidation. And if you see now two guys on Nottingham willing to take your head off and do, like, they're not scared. Yeah. You're going to be intimidated. And you're not going to be those skilled guys on Sheffield. They're not going to be able to play their game. They're constantly having to look over their shoulder, seeing who the hell is coming at them. So I just want to put that in perspective because a lot of fans don't understand that part of the game because you've never stepped on the ice at that level, so you don't know, right? And that's just what I wanted to mention.
No, we always saw it with Springer. It was always a thing in the league. Was Springer was the tough guy. He is aging a bit now, and I think you got the better of him maybe 2 or 3 times last season, which was great to see. But Springer had this thing about him where you never knew what he was going to do next.
Yeah,
he could easily switch and just see red mist and just go off on one of people. Mm-hmm. And you've got that kind of fear behind you, especially if you've not got someone like yourself or Gagnon or whoever, Nielsen. Springer being there on his own.
Yeah, and as much as as much as you guys see that me and Springer don't get along on the ice, I have the utmost respect for a guy like Springer. Like he did his job when he's not fighting. He's a good player. Like he's a good hockey player, and he fought when he had to. He plays that physical style. He gets under guys' skin, and that's another guy that why wouldn't another team in the league want a player like that? So
I think the thing with it is so like see your Gagnon's. When Gagnon had signed for Manchester a few years back, he wasn't a player. You took him out the game, and Manchester just had a couple of weaker players that could score, and that was it. They didn't have a great team. But you put someone like a Gagnon in a team with Nottingham, and they're signing all these high-end productive players. That's why Sheffield should be worried because he is there. He'll be able to play a bit. Maybe not the best, but he can play a bit, and he's that intimidating fear factor on the ice.
Yeah,
like yourself, Charlie was able to go out and do his thing. As Charlie said, Sebi did Sebi things in games because he had likes of yourself behind him. Even Doro and Silsey and that could drop them when they wanted to. So Sheffield don't have that. It's I don't know. Sims is a fucking idiot, honestly. I've never liked that man. He's an absolute tosser.
I've never liked him. I never liked him. Years ago, I think it was the first year, just before Dundee came into Elite League, they had a sportsman's dinner and he was the guest speaker. And it was back then, he even said that, I can't remember it word for word, but he was absolutely gutted that Dundee got in the league just because they had to get on a bus and travel as far as they had to travel.
Yeah.
And you think, come on, is that a good enough reason for a team not getting in the league because you have to travel? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. His head is so far up his own arse, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll love this interview, guys.
Well, the thing is,
get your Twitter ready. I'll be ready. Anyone that wants to come at me from Sheffield, I'll be all over them.
Well, as I say, the thing is, one of my dad's favourite players in the league is Robert Dowd from Sheffield, and we're getting him on the.
He's great. Yeah, he's a good guy too. That's another guy that. I hated being physical with him because he was always talking to me on the ice, and I remember there was. Do you guys remember when we won? We swept them during the season right after Christmas, and I went down at the end of the game and blocked that shot, and he was the first guy. He was the first guy over. Like, hey, Haas, you're right. Like, get off the ice or whatever. Like, I always remember that stuff. So, he's a good hell of a player too. So
he's making an appearance on a View from Section C in a couple of weeks. So so we're giving Sheffield loads of shit here, and then we've got to bring on one of the players.
And then we've got to bring Dowdy on and be nice about Sheffield.
I'll be making that statement at the start of the show that we're not being nice about Sheffield. Even though we've got you on the show, we're not being nice about Sheffield.
That's fine.
But just to wrap up, if you can, obviously we don't know what's going on. What does the future hold for Kyle Haas? Is there another season in there somewhere?
So I'll be honest with you guys. I'm really not sure at this time. Most likely, I hate to say this, but most likely I'm going to be probably hanging them up. Like I said, I got a really good job opportunity here in Edmonton working, and I've been kind of looking more at post hockey career and doing some other things I want to be doing in my life. But I was going to be honest with everyone and say, when you get a job here, I'm sure they have the same rules and regulations in the UK, but when you get a job, you get a 3-month probation period. And at the end of the 3-month probation period, you start to get benefits and stuff with your employer, and your employer can decide whether they want to keep you on or not. And the employee can also decide, and they have a meeting or whatever. So I don't want to come out with concrete news until the end of my 3-month probation period. So there still is a chance. But I was just giving you guys
it's that little meme coming up. So you're saying there's a chance. Honestly, Kyle, we said it with Charlie. Obviously, he'd signed in Denmark. He would have been one of the first players who signed up, but without a doubt, the entire fan base, maybe bar one or two that you had a little bit of disagreements with on Twitter. But I think every single person in the Stars fan base would have you back in a second.
Absolutely happy. Absolutely.
You'd be busy. I'd be busy this year.
Very busy this year.
Very busy this year.
I think Nottingham would suck, but
I think you'd maybe be was it 3? I think the rule still is 3 fights and you're out the game. So I think every Nottingham game you'd be 3 fights and you're out the game. Every Nottingham game. So, but no, without a doubt, we'd have you back in a heartbeat. You were at majority of the season the life and soul of that team on the ice. You've seen it in your character every game. Even the celebration, the little pistols coming out, the goals. Everybody absolutely loved you. The interaction you had on social media with the fans, it just showed. We always say it. We don't care if we get beat. You want to win every game, but as long as players play for the logo on the front of the jersey rather than the name on the back, that's how you'll always be remembered. And certainly yourself and Charlie. We said it with Charlie as well. Yourself and Charlie will be remembered for that. But what again? Everyone that's listening, potentially hanging them up, but he could be back next year.
It's potential.
Okay,
it's
he
potential.
could be back. Just don't sign for Sheffield or Nottingham. I know you're friends with Pash, but we say it to everyone: go to Belfast or Cardiff if you're going to go to anyone. Don't do Nottingham or Sheffield. And the other Scottish clubs, obviously.
Well, the thing is, guys, like my probation period's going to be up in beginning of September, end of August. and that'll be at the end of the 3 months. But like I said before, I'll most likely be staying here. I think I'm enjoying it, but if things happen and my employer doesn't want to keep me or something happens, you never know, right? Most likely all the teams in the UK will probably be filled up. So most likely I'll be heading to Fort Wayne, but because I'm still in close contact with Benny Boudreau, and that's one guy too. Him and Omar Pacha, those are both guys that I'll always keep in close contact with, and guys I'll show a lot of likingness too. Like I love those guys. They gave me an opportunity when no one else would. So I always like to stay loyal to those type of guys. And Fort Wayne, they like Benny told me, like, we'll always have a spot for you. And I always told him, like, I would love to come back to Fort Wayne and stuff. But so maybe that happens. Maybe I go back to Fort Wayne, and then during the year, maybe go to UK. Who knows, right? Anything can happen. But for now, I think I'm going to be staying here in Edmonton and trying my post career here because I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the team I'm with and everything. So,
no, that's good. Yeah. And if it is Fort Wayne, obviously I'm a big Indiana sports fan, so I will be speaking to the wife and the father. We'll maybe get a trip to Indiana, come over to Fort Wayne.
If you want to go to an atmosphere, you go to a Fort Wayne Comets game. I'm telling you, it's one of the oldest organizations in North American pro hockey in the minor leagues. It's one of the oldest organizations. One of the best organizations, in my opinion. They average around 8,000-9,000 fans a game. Like, it is nuts there. So I highly recommend, if you guys have a chance to go there and watch a Fort Wayne Comets game, I highly recommend that. So you guys will not regret it. So
but final message for the fans from yourself, Kyle.
You know what? It just came to mind when you guys mentioned the Pistols. I'll do one thing for you guys here.
The Pistols.
The Pistols were shooting.
I haven't done that one in a while.
But yeah, final message. What would you like to say to the fans?
Honestly, guys, like I said in a lot of post-game interviews and a lot of interviews I held with some of the reporters, like, you guys are the best fans in the league. You guys, if there was a sixth man award for the year, you guys would definitely won that. We played for you guys, and we cemented it when we won against Sheffield in that the first playoff round, and seeing you guys, how happy you guys were, seeing how happy we were. We really fed off you guys, and they need more than ever. The Dundee Stars need you guys every year with the new management now. So you guys need to be even louder and more supportive than ever before. So, and I have the utmost belief in you that you guys can do that. So yeah, you guys are awesome. So keep going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you heard that, get right behind Jeff and the team.
Yeah.
Obviously we've still got some more signings to come out.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed they're announced soon, as everyone keeps saying on social media. But again, I just want to thank you, Kyle, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
First two guys we needed on was Charlie and yourself. Absolute heartbeat of the team last year. So thank you, and obviously we wish you all the best going forward. If this is the end of the career, we wish you all the best in your post hockey career. And hopefully we do see you in Dundee again at some point. Again, just hopefully not on the other end of the ice. But that's it for episode 25. We had number 25 on episode 25. What better way could we have done it? We are interviewing another couple of players next week. So that'll be interesting. Lars will love that. One of his favourite players as well.
You guys having Doro on, are you?
Yeah, if we can get him around mountain time, whatever this is. So Lars' favourite Doro. We've got Ingy on next week. Chris Ingles is coming on next week.
There he is.
We've had to get the Dundee, a local lad on, and obviously Dowdy coming up. But then we've also got a surprise couple of guests next week as well. But that's it from me. Thank you all for listening. Larzo.
Yeah, thank you. And Kyle, on behalf of us, just myself and Junior, thanks so much for coming on to a view from Section C. And absolutely fantastic to see how you played last season. And as Junior said, how you played for the logo on the front and not the name on the back. I just hope we get more guys like you playing for Dundee in the future. So thank you.
No, it's a pleasure, guys. And hope to see you soon. And just make sure you guys keep in touch every time you guys want me on. I love doing this type of stuff. So just give me a heads up, and we'll make some we'll make a schedule out for you guys. So
yeah, we will do. Perfect. Thanks for listening, and we will see you all next week.
All right.
Cheers. Cheers. Bye-bye.